August 14th, 2014. Sol 719. That's what they call it. A Martian day. Slightly longer than ours. Lonelier. The Curiosity rover sits in Gale Crater. Alone. 300 million miles from anyone who cares. Its camera, the mast cam, sweeps across rust-colored nothing. Rocks. Dust. The thin atmosphere the color of old blood. It takes a picture. Frame 719. The image uploads. Travels through space at the speed of light. Takes 14 minutes to reach Earth. Just data. Just ones and zeros crossing the void. Then someone sees it. Center frame. Partially buried. Unmistakable. A bone. A femur. Human-sized. Human-shaped. Lying in the Martian dirt like it's been there for millennia. The internet detonates. Within hours, it's everywhere. UFO blogs, conspiracy forums, Reddit threads that spiral into thousands of comments. Twitter erupts. Facebook shares cascade like dominoes. NASA found bones on Mars. Proof of ancient civilization. They're hiding it from us. The image goes viral. Millions see it. Most believe it. Because why wouldn't they? It's right there. Clear as day. A thigh bone on another planet. NASA's servers strain under the traffic. Everyone wants to see. Everyone wants proof. At JPL, the Jet Propulsion Laboratory in Pasadena. The scientists sigh. Not again. By August 21st, NASA releases a statement measured, clinical, designed to kill the dream before it spreads. Mission science team members think its shape is likely sculpted by erosion, either wind or water. They add, Mars likely never had enough oxygen in its atmosphere to support complex organisms. Thus, large fossils are not likely. Translation: it's a rock. Just a rock. But the internet doesn't care about oxygen levels. The internet wants mysteries, wants secrets, wants to believe that we're not alone, that something walked on that red dust before us. The bone becomes legend. 6 years later, in June 2020, astrophysicist Antonio Paris posts the image again on Twitter. Old photo. New audience. Bones on Mars. NASA. Just rocks. The cycle begins again. Fresh outrage. Fresh speculation. Fresh shares. Paris later claims it was a joke. Says people need to stop drinking whiskey so early in the morning. Nobody laughs. Because the image is still there. Still haunting. Still whispering the same question across 300 million miles of nothing. What if? This is how modern folklore is born. Not around campfires. Not in oral traditions passed down through generations. But in pixels. In compression artifacts. In the space between what we see and what we want to see. This is the story of bones on Mars. But to understand how we got here, how a photograph of a weathered rock became evidence of ancient Martian civilization, we need to go back to 1976, back to the face. July 25th, 1976. Viking 1 orbits Mars, NASA's first successful mission to the Red Planet. The spacecraft circles, Maps, photographs, looking for landing sites, looking for answers. Frame 35A72. The camera clicks. The image transmits back to Earth. Scientists crowd around monitors at JPL. They're looking at a region called Cydonia, Northern Hemisphere. Ancient cratered highlands. Someone notices something. A mesa, about 2 kilometers long. Elevated plateau surrounded by flat plains. But it's not the size that stops them. It's the shape. A face, eyes, nose, mouth, staring up from the Martian surface like a colossal monument, like something carved deliberately, like something meant to be seen. The scientists know what it is immediately. Pareidolia, trick of light and shadow. The sun angle at that exact moment, around 20 degrees above the horizon, creates the illusion. Makes random geology look like symmetry. Makes nature look like architecture. They know this. But NASA also knows something else. The public loves a mystery. So they release it anyway. The press release describes it as a huge rock formation which resembles a human head. They call it formed by shadows giving the illusion of eyes, nose, and mouth. Illusion. They use that word specifically. Doesn't matter. The image escapes containment within hours. Tabloids devour it. Face on Mars becomes a headline that sells papers. UFO researchers pounce. This is what they've been waiting for. Proof of ancient Martian civilization. Proof that NASA knows more than they're saying. The believers multiply. Vincent DiPietro and Gregory Molinar, computer scientists, spend years analyzing the image. They find a second photo of the same region, frame 70A13, taken 35 orbits later. Different sun angle. The face is still there. They publish their findings in 1982. Unusual Mars surface features. The book becomes a bestseller in conspiracy circles. Richard Hoagland takes it further, former NASA consultant, former science advisor. He examines the Cydonia region and sees more than just a face. He sees a complex. Pyramids, geometric patterns, mathematical ratios. He calculates angles, measures distances, finds meaning in erosion. In 1987, he publishes The Monuments of Mars. The theory solidifies. An ancient civilization built these structures. NASA knows. NASA is covering it up. The evidence is literally staring us in the face from 35 million miles away. The face on Mars becomes cultural mythology. It appears in TV shows, movies, science fiction novels. The X-Files features it. So does Mission to Mars. It becomes shorthand for government cover-ups and hidden truths. The believers wait for vindication. Then NASA sends better cameras. April 5th, 1998. Mars Global Surveyor orbits above Cydonia. New instruments. 10 times the resolution of Viking. It photographs the face again. The image comes back. No face, just a mesa. Weathered, eroded, completely ordinary. The eyes are pits, the nose is a ridge, the mouth is nothing. The symmetry was always an illusion, shadow and angle and wishful thinking. NASA releases it immediately. Mission accomplished. Mystery solved. But the believers don't accept it. They claim the new photo was taken at the wrong angle, wrong lighting. They demand better images, more proof. NASA obliges. September 21st, 2006. Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter. High-resolution imaging science experiment camera. Resolution so sharp you could see a basketball on the Martian surface. It photographs Cydonia again. The face is still just a mesa, still just geology. The detail only makes it less face-like, reveals every crack, every boulder, every random feature that proves it was never designed, never carved, never meant to be anything but rock. NASA thinks this ends it. They're wrong, because by 2006, the face on Mars has already spawned an entire ecosystem of Martian anomaly hunters. The original conspiracy metastasized. The methodology survived even after the mystery died. People learned how to look at Mars photos, how to zoom in, enhance, analyze, find patterns, see things. The face was just the beginning, the template, the first crack in the dam. And when Curiosity landed on Mars in 2012, carrying high-definition cameras that would transmit thousands of images back to Earth, those hunters were ready. They had been training for decades. They knew exactly what they were looking for. Anything, everything. Proof that Mars was more than a dead world. Proof that something lived there, walked there, died there. So when frame 719 appeared on August 14th, 2014, when that femur-shaped rock materialized on their screens, they didn't see geology. They saw confirmation. They saw bones. And they weren't the only ones looking. His name is Scott C. Waring, Taiwan, former USAF. Runs a blog called UFO Sightings Daily. He is the high priest of Martian anomaly hunting. Every day, he downloads raw images from NASA's servers, Curiosity Rover, Opportunity, Spirit, Perseverance, thousands of photos. He examines each one, zooms, enhances, looks for anything that doesn't belong, and he finds them. Always. January 2013. He spots something in a Curiosity photo. Small, rodent-shaped, 4 legs, a tail, fur texture. He posts it. Mars rat. The internet explodes again. The image goes viral. News outlets pick it up. CNN covers it. Fox News, BBC, The Washington Post runs a story. Scientists explain it's a rock. Wind erosion. Pareidolia. Doesn't matter. The Mars rat lives forever. Becomes a meme, a mascot. Proof that people want to see life on Mars, even if it's a rat. But Waring doesn't stop. December 2013. He finds a lizard, or rather, what looks like an iguana. Same process. Zoom, enhance, compare to Earth animals. Declare discovery. Mars iguana. More headlines. More debunking. More proof that the cycle is self-sustaining now. January 2014. Before the bone photo appears, there's another viral moment. The jelly donut rock. Opportunity Rover photographs the same patch of ground twice, 12 days apart. In the second photo, A white rock appears. Wasn't there before. Conspiracy theorists claim it's proof of life. A growing organism. A fungus. Something alive. NASA explains. The rover's wheel kicked up a rock, flipped it over. The white side, never exposed to sun faced upward. Mystery solved in one sentence. But the believers have momentum now. They have infrastructure. YouTube channels dedicated to Martian anomalies. Websites that archive every suspicious photo. Facebook groups with tens of thousands of members. They collaborate, share findings, build taxonomies of discovered objects. The Mars Zoo grows. Skulls, helmets, weapons, statues, coffins, spoons, wheels, crabs, fish, birds, entire cities spotted in the background of rover photos. Each discovery follows the same pattern. Someone finds an oddly shaped rock, posts it, circles it in red, adds arrows, compares it to Earth objects. Headlines write themselves. Skull found on Mars. Ancient helmet discovered. NASA hides evidence of civilization. NASA responds every time. Patiently, professionally. Explains Pareidolia. Explains erosion. Explains that Mars has been photographed billions of times, and statistically, some rocks will look like things. The believers don't care. Because this isn't about evidence anymore. It's about community, belonging, being part of something, knowing secrets, seeing what others can't see. And there's money in it now. YouTube monetization, ad revenue, Patreon subscriptions. The more sensational the discovery, the more views. The more views, the more income. Scott Waring's blog gets millions of hits. His posts are cited by tabloids, translated into dozens of languages. He becomes an authority, an expert, the man who sees what NASA won't admit. He finds a pattern in Curiosity's photos. Humanoid figures, standing in the background, watching the rover. He calls them Mars people. Posts comparison images. Zooms until the pixels blur into shapes that could be anything. Helmet, face, body, arms. Just rocks. But belief doesn't require clarity. Belief requires just enough ambiguity to leave room for faith. And NASA's photos are full of ambiguity. Because Mars is an alien landscape, literally. The rocks don't look like Earth rocks. The formations defy familiar categories. The lighting is different. The dust creates textures we've never seen. Our brains aren't equipped for it. So they improvise. They fill in gaps, make connections, see patterns. A rock shaped vaguely like a femur becomes a bone. A shadow on a mesa becomes a face. A boulder cluster becomes a city. This is the machinery of conspiracy, the engine that never stops. And it runs on something primal, something hardwired into human psychology. The need to see, the need to recognize, the need to not be alone in the universe. But there's another layer, distrust. If you believe NASA lies about Mars, if you believe they hide evidence of ancient civilizations, of bones, of life, then you can believe they lie about everything. Climate data, moon landings, vaccines, elections. The Mars anomaly hunters don't just find rocks. They find proof that authority can't be trusted. That official explanations are always suspect, that the truth is hidden and only the vigilant can see it. August 14th, 2014. When the femur photo appears, it lands in an ecosystem that's been waiting decades for this exact moment. Scott Waring posts it within hours. Absolute proof of life on Mars. NASA can't hide this. The believers rally, share, spread, evangelize. And NASA, once again, has to explain why a rock is just a rock. But the explanation doesn't matter, because the believers already know something the scientists don't. They know that seeing is believing. And once you see it, once your brain completes the pattern and shows you the femur, the face, the lizard, you can't unsee it. No amount of debunking changes what your eyes tell you is there. This is the power of pareidolia. And it's time to understand why our brains do this. Why we're built to see things that aren't there. Why evolution made us believers. Your brain is a liar. Not malicious, not deliberate, but it lies nonetheless. Every second of every day, your eyes feed your brain incomplete data. Fragments, shadows, color gradients, shapes without context. Your brain's job is to make sense of it, and it does this by guessing. It fills in the blanks, completes the patterns, takes ambiguous visual information, and forces it into categories you already understand. This is called pareidolia, from the Greek para, beside, beyond, eidolon, image, form, seeing forms that aren't there. And it's not a bug, it's a feature. Professor Kang Lee, University of Toronto, neuroscientist specializing in face perception. He explains it like this. Human survival depended on split-second pattern recognition. Spotting predators in foliage, identifying allies versus enemies, reading facial expressions to detect threat or welcome. Our ancestors, who saw patterns faster, who could spot the tiger in the grass, the face in the shadows, lived longer, reproduced more. Natural selection favored the paranoid. Better to see a face where there isn't one than to miss the face that's hunting you. So our brains evolved with a bias. A hair trigger. We see faces everywhere. Power outlets, car grills, the front of buildings, toast, clouds, tree bark, coffee stains, faces, always faces. The fusiform face area, a specific region in the temporal lobe, activates within 170 milliseconds of seeing anything remotely face-like. Faster than conscious thought. Your brain decides it's a face before you decide anything. Studies prove this. Show people random static, white noise. Tell them faces might be hidden inside. They find them. Show them the moon. They see a man. Show them Mars. They see monuments. The pattern recognition doesn't stop at faces, animals, objects, anything familiar. Because survival also meant recognizing food sources, identifying tools, categorizing threats. A shape that looks like a snake gets processed as a snake. Immediately, automatically, even if it's a stick. This kept our ancestors alive, but it makes modern humans terrible at analyzing alien landscapes. Dr. Jonathan Hill, Mars Spaceflight Facility, Arizona State University. He studies the Curiosity rover images professionally, examines every photo for actual geological significance. He's seen it all: the femur, the rat, the iguana, the skulls, the helmets. He explains what's really happening. Mars rocks erode differently than Earth rocks. The atmosphere is thinner. The wind carries fine dust that sandblasts surfaces for millions of years. Water carved channels billions of years ago, then disappeared. The result? Rocks with unusual textures, sharp angles, hollow sections, formations that resemble manufactured objects. Add low resolution. Compression artifacts from transmission. JPEG encoding. Add lighting that creates deep shadows. Sun angles that exaggerate features. Add human psychology desperate to find meaning. You get bones. Dr. Ashwin Vasavada, Curiosity Project scientist at JPL. When asked about the femur photo, he's diplomatic. There are lots of rocks on Mars that, if you look at them just right, might look like things. But they're just weathered rocks. He doesn't sound surprised, doesn't sound defensive, just tired, because he's answered this question hundreds of times, about hundreds of discoveries. The science is simple. The psychology is complicated. Carl Sagan understood this. In his book, The Demon-Haunted World, published in 1995, he wrote about the face on Mars. Perhaps the creature is invisible, or dead, or it was just a rock formation all along. He explained Pareidolia, described how our pattern-seeking brains betray us, why we see agency in randomness. But he also understood why people need to believe, because finding life on Mars, even ancient dead life, would mean we're not alone, that the universe isn't empty, that consciousness emerged more than once, that discovery would change everything. So people look, and look, and look, and their brains, trying to be helpful, trying to keep them alive, show them what they want to see. 2012 study. University of Helsinki. Scientists scanned brains while subjects viewed random images and religious imagery. Result: the same regions activated for both. Pattern recognition doesn't distinguish between real patterns and imagined ones. Your brain rewards you either way. Dopamine hit, satisfaction, the pleasure of seeing something. This is why debunking doesn't work. NASA can release higher resolution images, can show the bone is just an oddly weathered rock, can explain erosion patterns, can provide geological context. Doesn't matter, because the believer's brain already gave them the reward, already showed them the pattern, already completed the picture. Taking that away feels like loss, like someone stealing your discovery. So they reject the explanation. Search for alternative theories. NASA's lying. They're covering it up. The new photo was doctored. Conspiracy thinking fills the gap where pattern recognition breaks down. Because if your eyes show you a bone, and authority says it's not a bone, then either your eyes are wrong or authority is lying. Most people trust their eyes. Every time, evolution built us this way, wired us to see patterns, faces, meaning, kept us alive for millions of years. But now, in an age where we're analyzing images from another planet, where we have access to billions of photographs from alien landscapes, that same survival mechanism makes us unreliable witnesses. We see bones on Mars, not because they're there, but because we're human, and humans see what they need to see. The question isn't why people believe in Martian anomalies. The question is, why do they keep believing after the debunking, after the proof, after NASA explains? That answer is darker, and it has nothing to do with science. September 2014, 1 month after the femur photo goes viral, NASA scientist Jim Green gives an interview. Explains, again, that it's a rock, points to higher resolution images, shows the erosion patterns, the wind-carved features, the absolute certainty that no bone could survive on Mars's surface, no atmosphere to speak of, radiation bombardment, temperature swings of 170 degrees Fahrenheit between day and night. Any organic material would have degraded billions of years ago. The science is irrefutable. The believers ignore it. Because by now, the femur isn't just a photo anymore. It's a story, a narrative, a piece of evidence in a larger mythology. And mythologies don't die when you debunk one detail. They adapt. On UFO Sightings Daily, Scott Waring posts NASA's explanation, then adds his own commentary. NASA says it's a rock. Of course they do. They always say that, but look at the shape. Look at the density. Look at the placement. This is a cover-up. His readers agree. Comments flood in. They think we're stupid. They can't hide forever. This is proof they found life, and won't tell us. The debunking becomes evidence of conspiracy. This is the final evolution. The end point of the cycle. When facts don't change minds, facts become part of the enemy narrative. Dr. Jan Willem van Prugen, psychology professor, Vrije Universiteit Amsterdam, studies conspiracy theories. His research shows a pattern. People who believe in one conspiracy theory tend to believe in many, even contradictory ones. Princess Diana was murdered by MI6. Also, she faked her death and lives in hiding. Both beliefs coexist in the same minds, because conspiracy thinking isn't about the specific theory. It's about distrust, about feeling like you have access to hidden knowledge, about being part of an enlightened minority that sees through official lies. The Mars anomaly hunters aren't just looking for bones. They're looking for validation, community, purpose, and they find it. YouTube channels dedicated to Martian anomalies rack up millions of views. Comment sections become meeting places. Believers share their own discoveries, encourage each other, build camaraderie, keep searching. Don't let NASA silence you. We know the truth. The algorithm loves it. Engagement, watch time, controversy, the perfect content cocktail. So YouTube recommends more videos. Facebook suggests more groups. Google serves more articles. The ecosystem feeds itself. 2019 study. American Journal of Political Science. Finding people exposed to conspiracy theories are more likely to believe future conspiracies, even unrelated ones. Each debunked mystery doesn't close the door. It opens more. Because if NASA lied about the femur, they didn't. Maybe they lied about climate change, moon landings, the shape of Earth, vaccines. One conspiracy theory metastasizes into a worldview, and Mars becomes the gateway drug. August 2020. 6 years after the original femur photo, a new image surfaces. Curiosity photograph. Sol 2847. This time, structures that look like rib bones. Curved, parallel, weathered white. The cycle begins again. Scott Waring posts it. Ancient Martian skeleton confirmed. News outlets pick it up. Again, same headlines, same explanations, same debunking. NASA geologist explains its hematite concretions. Iron-rich rocks eroded into similar shapes, common on Mars, documented hundreds of times. The believers don't care, because they've learned something over the years. Truth is fungible. Evidence is subjective. Authority is suspect. And on the internet, belief is currency. Every viral Mars anomaly generates ad revenue, book sales, conference invitations, Patreon subscribers. There's an entire economy built on Martian mysteries. Dr. Michael Shermer, founding publisher of Skeptic magazine. He spent decades studying why smart people believe strange things. His conclusion: it's not about intelligence. It's about meaning. Humans crave patterns, crave significance, crave the feeling that events aren't random, that there's design, intention, hidden purpose. A rock shaped like a femur is just geology. Random, meaningless, the universe being indifferent. But a bone on Mars? That's a story. That's mystery. That's proof the universe cares enough to leave clues. People will always choose the story, even when the facts say otherwise. NASA knows this now. They stopped responding to every anomaly claim years ago, stopped issuing statements, stopped engaging, because engagement feeds the cycle. Every official denial becomes proof of cover-up. Every explanation becomes suspicious. Silence is the only strategy that doesn't backfire. So, the believers keep finding things: pyramids, cities, ancient highways, fossils, tools, weapons, evidence of wars fought millions of years ago on a dead world. And NASA keeps photographing rocks. Billions of rocks. The Curiosity rover has taken over 700,000 images since landing in 2012. The Perseverance rover adds thousands more every month. Each photo is uploaded to NASA's servers. Public domain. Free access. Anyone can download them, examine them, find patterns. The anomaly hunters will never run out of material. There will always be another rock that looks like something. Another shadow that suggests structure. Another formation that defies easy explanation. Because Mars is alien. And human brains aren't built to process alien landscapes neutrally. We see what we're programmed to see. Faces, bodies, meaning. Frame 719, the original femur photo, still circulates online, still gets shared, still generates comments, still sparks debates. 10 years later, it's become digital folklore. A modern myth. Proof to some, delusion to others. But to NASA, just another rock on a planet full of rocks. The truth doesn't kill the mystery. The mystery doesn't need truth. It needs belief. And belief, once established, once shared, once woven into community and identity, becomes immune to evidence. This is how legends survive in the digital age. Not despite debunking. Because of it, the femur on Mars was never a bone. But it'll be a bone forever. In screenshots, in articles, in YouTube videos that never get deleted. In the minds of people who saw it and decided in that instant that they were seeing something NASA didn't want them to see. And no amount of higher resolution imagery will ever change that. Because on the internet, mystery doesn't die. It multiplies. 300 million miles away, curiosity keeps rolling, keeps photographing, keeps sending images back through the void. And somewhere, right now, somewhere is downloading those images. Zooming in, looking for the next discovery, the next bone, the next face, the next proof. They'll find it. They always do. Because the human need to see patterns, to find meaning, is stronger than any desire for truth. We are pattern-seeking animals on a pattern-filled planet, staring at patterns on another world. And we see exactly what we've always seen. Ourselves, reflected back from the dust. Bones on Mars. Not because they're there, but because we need them to be.